Welcome. You found another podcast of Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. We teach them how to be present and aware and deal with what's right in front of them. The only entrance requirement is the honesty, open-mindedness, and the willingness to try. And if you have a few pixie dust particles of each one of those, you're on your way. Welcome aboard. I'm Jim Miller-Meyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist and co-host of this program this evening with my good friend and producer of this program, Mike.
Hello. Good to be back again. I know we've had a few guests, so it's been a while since you've seen this voice and you've seen this voice. Yes, there, we'll go with that over the last couple of months. But good to be back here and chatting with you again, Jim.
Yes. So a number of years ago, I discussed everyone about the passing of my longtime best friend, Sam Heckel, who was the most instrumental person in my life, helped me and really got me clean and sober and was the best person I've ever known in my life. And today I want to talk about a happy death. There are happy deaths. There are happy passings. I've had the good fortune to have two sponsors in my life. The first sponsor I had for 2 years, and the next sponsor I had for the last 25. And his name was Joe Boston. Since he's passed, I can break his anonymity. So Joe and I went through a lot of, he really helped me deal with things in life. He taught me so much about 12-step recovery and things that I'm able to carry the message on today because I have the foundation of knowledge, Mike. And so in order to carry a message, you have to have one. And you're not really friends until you suffer together. When a long time ago, Joe was a intravenous cocaine user and had developed hepatitis. Okay, it's one of the most common. It's way more than AIDS, much more. Okay, so he developed hepatitis B, and the only treatment back then was an interferon treatment, which took a year and left you with a rather severe case of the flu for a year. So I went over to see him every day for 20 minutes, and that's when we worked on the book. We went through the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, 20 minutes a day, every day. And I know he passed on all this knowledge to me. And over the years, as he got a little older, perhaps a little bit more frail, it roles kind of reverse, just like when with parents and children. Okay? And Joe had a quadruple bypass about 5 years ago. He then went on, he developed diabetes, and because of all the brutal punishment he had given his body over all the years, his kidneys began to fail. So he has been on dialysis for about the last 5 years. And it was a tough stretch. It was a tough go. And it became more and more, and his quality of living was less and less and less. So he made a decision about 3 weeks ago to step away from dialysis. Have you ever known anybody that did that, Mike?
No, I don't. I haven't seen that.
Okay, so he had no kidney function, and so we contacted the hospice. And as I'm the executor of his will, as a power of attorney, I the advance directive person. We made all those arrangements, and we wanted to make things as possible. And we didn't just make this decision overnight. Okay, we thought this thing through. We went through it with the doctor. Originally, about 6 months ago, the doctor had said, "Hey, I'm in the living business, not the dying business. Could you give it one more chance?" And he did, until it just got untenable. So he had his last dialysis appointment on a Monday, and then a couple times during the week, he and I had some lucid conversations. But the Friday, he began to become unresponsive, rather disconnected in his thinking. And after the hospice people left about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they left me there, and I was administering the morphine. It was oral, administering the lorazepam for the agitation. And about midnight that night, Mike, he became very agitated, like people get before they pass. And I gently held him in his chair. He was in a nice recliner. It was comfortable. And about midnight that night, he became unresponsive. And he passed away, took his last breath at 11:07 that morning. Was that a sad death? He died clean and sober. He passed peacefully in the company of somebody that had been with him for 25 years. And I sat and read the big book to him. I don't know whether he's heard it or not, but it meant something to me. So when he passed, and it was a smile. We smile. And everybody that I talk to in the 12-step world, and we've shared this before, Mike, that we don't own anything, that people, places, and things are just shared with us. So that gives us more of an impetus to take better care of them, because we know at some point we're going to have to give them back. And when we give something back, we want it to be in as good as condition as when we got it. So that's the way I felt about Joe. And he had shared the message over the years with many, many people. I recall one of our good friends, Joe and I's good friends, called, and I had let her know that Joe had passed. And I said, he's at the big meeting. And she said, he's at the best meeting. What do you think about that, Mike?
I think that's a really important perspective to look at here. Like we were talking about before, like this was a success, in the long run. We have to talk about, like, nobody gets out of this alive, this experiment, but he got to go out on his own terms, right? And you say clean and sober, which is a victory. It was not, I mean, that's when everything could have been breaking down, and the temptation is probably rough too, right? So, like, I think that's incredible.
If you ask anybody in the 12-step world what's their most fondest desire, and that's to die clean and sober.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. And I think for anybody that has listened to this podcast in the past, they know that a couple years ago, back in the fall of 2023, I had faced that demise and I had a triple bypass, and the greatest doctors in Pittsburgh, they saved my life. But again, I was not afraid to die. I had no more resentments. I had made peace. I had made peace with everyone. And I had led a good life. I wasn't volunteering, but I wasn't afraid to die. And that's the way Joe was.
And I think that's, I love thinking about things because I'm at an age where I'm thinking about these things. And it's always, hey, if we don't know how long we're gonna last with things. We never know what's gonna happen. But if it ends tomorrow, are you on good terms? With everything you need to be. And I think that's a good for perspective, no matter where you're at, no matter what age you are, whatever you're going through here, listening to this podcast and everything like that. I think that's very important to know that you're in a decent spot, know that you accept whatever happens at that point, and have that goal, especially becoming clean and sober at that point. Yeah.
So the tattoo that I had marked in red now, because I wanted to be people to catch it, was no regrets. Mike, I don't know if you've been through many nursing homes or places like that, and if you sit and talk to people, what they talk about is their life regrets, what they wish they would have done, what they wish they would not have done. My thought to everyone out there, my message is, what are you waiting for? Have no regrets. If you haven't talked to your mother, if you haven't talked to your father, if you haven't talked to a friend, if you haven't made amends, if you hadn't made something that you're going to regret, then do it. We live in the present. We don't live life in a rearview mirror. We don't live life on if, buts, and maybes. We live on action and effort and making choices, Mike. And the beautiful thing about this life is that we're given time when we're born, and we get to choose how to use it. And my strong suggestion to everyone, do not give that time away to anybody else. Do not give your hope and your joy away to anyone else. You be selfish and centered and keep it to yourself. So, at the end of every podcast, we offer a free prescription, and that is fruit, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. And now more than ever, do a kindness for another and do a kindness for yourself. Forgive another and forgive yourself. If we're all not children of the divine, then none of us are. Till all are free, none are free. Namaste.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast.
If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.